Yo, what's good, y'all? It's the Carolina Kid here to do again what y'all hate doing. I know, I'm talking about reading. Yeah, I'm still into it. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. And thank y'all so much for tuning in and keeping up with me. We in chapter 2 of this right now. Begin with the end in mind. And the segment that I'm reading today is called Creating Our Own Family Mission Statement. There's some good stuff, y'all. You already know what time it is. This the type of dope you need to be addicted to right here. Yeah, I'm gonna go get right into it. Listen up. I hope you'll excuse the long personal reference that follows. But we learn the power of all this not in the reading, observing, teaching, or writing, but in the doing. Please understand that this is a very intimate sharing of our personal and family life. It reflects our own deep values and beliefs. But know that we recognize and honor the principle of respect for all, including those who believe differently. If you were to ask Sandra and me what has been the most transforming event in your own family history, we would answer without hesitation that it was the creation of our family mission statement. Our first mission statement was created in a sacred marriage ceremony some 41 years ago. Our second mission statement was developed in stages over a period of 15 years and several children. Through the years, these mission statements have created the common sense of destination and manner of travel that has represented the social will, the culture, in the family. And either directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, almost everything else in our family has grown out of it. On the day we were married, immediately after the ceremony, Sandra and I went to a park called Memory Grove. We sat together and talked about what the ceremony meant and how we were going to try to live our lives by it. We talked about the two families we had come from. We discussed what we wanted to continue to do in our own newly formed family and what things we wanted to do differently. We also reaffirmed that our marriage was much more than a contractual relationship. It was a covenant relationship, and our commitment to each other was total, complete, and for always. We also recognized that our covenant was not only with each other, it was also with God. And we determined that we would be able to love each other more if we loved Him first. So we made the decision to put principles ahead of each other and ahead of our family. And we feel that one decision, more than any other single factor, has given us the strength to apologize, to forgive, to be kind, and to keep coming back to the flight path time and time again. We've discovered that the more we are able to center our lives on these principles, the more wisdom and strength we can access, especially in situations where it would be very easy to be centered and even controlled by other things, such as work, money, possessions, or even family. Without that decision, we are convinced we would have been far more dependent on each other's modes or on our popularity with our children for our sense of security rather than on our own inner integrity. Putting principles first has given a sense of appropriate priority to everything else. It's been like a set of glasses through which we view all of life. It's given us a sense of stewardship, a sense that we are both responsible and accountable for the way in which we handle all things, including family. And it's helped us realize that family itself is a principle, universal, timeless, and self-evident. That day, as Sandra and I sat in Memory Grove, we also began to talk about the children we would have. We took seriously the words of Daniel Webster. If we work on a marble, it will perish. If we work upon brass, time will efface it. If we rear temples, they will crumble into dust. But if we work upon immortal minds and instill into them just principles, we are then engraving upon the tablet that which no time will efface, but will brighten and brighten to all eternity. Wow, that's good. We began to identify some of the principles we wanted to use in raising our children. Then and over the next few years, as children began to come, we often asked ourselves, what kind of strength and abilities will our children need to have in order to be successful when they're grown? And out of these discussions came 10 abilities we thought were vitally important. 10 things we felt these children would need to be able to do when they became independent and started families of their own. These included the ability to work, to learn, to communicate, to solve problems, to repent, to forgive, to serve, to worship, to survive in the wilderness, and to play and have fun. Part of our vision was to gather together at the dinner table at the end of the day and regroup, share expenses, share experiences, laugh, bond, philosophize, and discuss values. We wanted our children to enjoy and deeply appreciate each other, to do things together, and to love being with each other. As the children grew, this vision gave direction to many families' discussions and activities. It caused us to plan each of our summers, our vacations, and our leisure time in a way that would help us realize our dream. For example, one of the 10 things on our list was the ability to survive in adverse conditions. So to help the children develop this skill, we enrolled our family in survival programs. We were trained and led into the wilderness for several days with nothing but our wits to sustain us. We learned to survive through our ingenuity and through the knowledge we had gained about what we could and could not eat and drink. We learned techniques that would allow us to survive in freezing conditions, extremely hot conditions, and conditions where there was no water. Another item concerned the value of education. We wanted our children to work in school and get as much education as possible and not take shortcuts to simply get grades and diplomas. So we read together as a family. We organized our homes so that our children had a time and a place to do homework. We became interested in what our children were learning in school, and we gave them opportunities to teach us what they were learning. We focused primarily on learning, not grades, and we hardly ever had to encourage the children to do their homework. We rarely saw a grade lower than an A-. Over the years, the focus on these and other ends in mind made a powerful difference in our family direction and in our family culture. But then, starting about 20 years ago, we developed a whole new level of family unity and synergy. At that time, we started developing and organizing the 7 Habits material. We began to realize that successful organizations of all kinds have mission statements. Many were sincere and became the major force in all decision making. Many were written only for public relations purposes. We began to realize what more recent research clearly shows, that the sincere kind of statement is an absolutely critical ingredient of high performance organizations, fundamental not only to the productivity and success of the organization, but also to the satisfaction and happiness of the people who work in it. We realize that even though most families begin with a sacred marriage ceremony, which represents a kind of beginning with the end in mind for the most part, families don't have the kind of mission statement so critical to organizational success. Yet families is the most important, fundamentally organization in the world, the literal building block of society. Now civilization has ever survived its breakup. No civilization has ever survived its breakup. No other institution can fulfill its essential purpose. No other institution has had its impact for good or ill. Nevertheless, and most family members do not have a deep sense of shared vision around its essential meaning and purpose. They have not paid the price to develop a shared vision and value system, which is the essence of the character and culture of the family. So we become convinced that we needed to develop a family mission statement. We had to create a vision of what we wanted our family to be like, what we would live by, what we would stand for, even die for. It would be a vision that was shared and owned by all family members, not just the 2 of us. So we began the process of creating it. We met as a family once a week to talk about it. We had different fun activities for the children that helped them tap into their four human gifts and get their ideas out on the table. We brainstormed together. Between family meetings, we privately pondered these things. We sometimes discussed them one on one or at dinner. One night, as we met, we asked the children, how do you think we could be better parents? In what ways can we improve? After 20 minutes of being bombarded by the ideas and suggestions that flowed freely, we said, okay, we think we get the idea. Gradually, we began to address a whole range of deeper issues. We asked family members, what kind of family do we really want to be? What kind of home would you like to invite your friends to? What embarrasses you about our family? What makes you feel comfortable here? What makes you want to come home? What makes you feel drawn to us as your parents so that you are open to our influence? What makes us feel open to your influence? And what do we want to be remembered by? We asked all the children who could write to make their own list of things that were important to them. They brought back their ideas the following week. And we had an open discussion about why these traits were so important or desirable. Eventually, all of the children wrote their own mission statements about what they felt was important and why. Together, we read and discussed each one. Each was thoughtful and special. We had to smile when we read Sean's. Coming from the teenage football frame of mind he held at the time, it read, we're one heck of a family and we kick butt. Not too refined, but to the point. It took us about 8 months to develop our mission statement. Everyone participated. Even my mother was involved. Today, we have grandchildren who have also become a part of it. So there are now 4 generations involved in our family mission statement. Wow. Creating our own family mission statement. I think that is vital. I have personally, myself with my family, I started a family mission statement. After I read this book the first time, I got that wisdom, that advice out of the book. And when it spoke on creating a family mission statement, I jumped right on it. And I noticed how it helped my boys feel like it's like a home base. And they feel like they had a voice. We were able to sit down. We all came up with words that we wanted to put on the canvas. And I think that is huge for all families to do, to sit down with your loved ones and collaborate on a family mission statement. And collaboration is the key word. All voices must have a say. You see, when everyone has a say, it keeps everyone from feeling pressured into a situation. It makes people feel like what they're saying matters, and they don't feel this passive aggression coming from other family members to feel like they just have to do it because the rest of the family is doing it. And you'll notice that over time, your family mission statement, it should expand, because as you and your family grow physically, mentally, spiritually, there should be growth within yourself personally. And milestones reached as a family together, which will hold you and your family to a higher standard once those milestones have been reached. And the higher standards alone will begin to expand your mission statement. That's what it'll begin to do. So allow your kids to constructively criticize you within reason. It's got to be within reason so that you know exactly how they feel about your actions or statements that you or your loved one makes. So allow them to tell you how they really feel without you judging or putting a sense of fear in them. All right.
Sir, are you driving a Gold Town and Country van?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm driving. Mine's gray. I got a gray Town and Country van out there.
Okay. Well, maybe she just said it. Where do you have it parked?
Right in the front.
I think you're the one that we needs to be moved.
Okay.